Monsters seem restless. Indeed they do. Indeed they do. Hello everyone, Thranxes here, and welcome to Rise to Ruins, episode 1 of the recorded section of this series, Winter is Coming. So if you were unable to catch the stream, the surprise stream that I did where I featured this game for the first time, I demonstrated how to get through spring, summer, and fall with an aggressive strategy to contain the corruption, and we're going to be following that up with this series to demonstrate winter. I will include a link to the stream down below if you want to see the preamble of how we got to where we are, but I'm going to talk a little bit about why I chose this area. So, as you may or may not have noticed, there are a lot of different varieties of landmass and water mass, even one that is, look, this one is a complete island down here, to choose from. And some have lakes and some have coastlines with an island, a lot of different variations of water. I actually found water to make this game more challenging, and so I chose a landlocked zone with not much fresh water to speak of. A few rivers is enough to sustain your kingdom, and there's no body of water for the corruption to use to their advantage. Now, at some point, this area will be so sustainable that I'll be able to pluck villagers and resources out of it and start a new kingdom somewhere else, and I can even start with more resources than I started with here, thereby mitigating some of the challenge that water poses. But even then, like if you take this map, for example, and you settled kind of down here in this corner, you would most likely force the corruption up to either here or here, away from the water, and mitigating some of the challenge. While you'd still have to deal with the mountains, which is difficult to stop the corruption in, you wouldn't have to deal with the water. So, that being said, we're going to go back to Greenham. We are on day 14, or the last day of autumn. And winter is coming. We have 57 villagers, a meager amount of monsters which are being destroyed. And these are all our resources, too numerous to name them all. We still have 3 villagers in limbo, but I'm leaving them here because we don't need them. Okay, and that being said, let's kick it off and get back to our kingdom. That we'll talk a little bit about what we did that made this successful that may not have been apparent during the stream. One of the biggest challenges with a setup like this is distance. Putting organizers to work in your ancillaries are actually extremely important. And don't forget, you can tell by who's standing still and who's moving whether or not they're idle. So we can see only one of our 3 stonecutters are working, so we can probably go down to 2. Organizers, 3 out of 6, we can go down to 5. Miners, what are the miners doing? It's like they're carrying supplies. No, where are our miners? Perhaps they're taking a break. A lot of combat going on down here. And look, you can see they're building a larger graveyard. And as it takes damage... Yep. They're going to continue working on it. It's going to be a challenge. Winter is where the game really picks up. These specters that are resistant to physical damage get much more numerous. And then, of course, we'll have fire elementals, which are ranged. And while they're not excessively hard to kill, they do tremendous damage to buildings and light them on fire. But you got to see, at this point, battling the corruption is an all-day affair. We don't really get a break, so your ammunition really has to be on lock, because your buildings are going to be just firing constantly. And if they're not, you'll never make any progress. Look, they've already started another graveyard. They're preparing for winter at this point. So they built a large one, another medium one. Yep, they're stepping up their resource gathering by spawning over here. Yeah. And gathering from over here, and then bringing it there. We'll see. They're going to get some work done every night because they're going to overwhelm the towers, and the towers aren't going to be able to fire on the workers or the buildings. Another concern is that we'll run out of magic. We have quite a few essence collectors. If you're going to go the road of these elemental bolt towers, you absolutely must have a good crystallary set up next to them so that they can be stacked with cryolithium at all times. Otherwise, they're not generating any magic. They're simply storing the free-floating magic on the level for you. Look at this. Our miners are clearing out this little area here. That's good. And so are the lumberjacks. So we have our marketplace, waymaker shack, maintenance building. I go back and forth on whether or not to put maintainers in their building. If you're building roads along everybody's path and you've got the roads up to wood, then it's generally a good idea to have maintainers in the shack. Because if you're going to be aggressive and you're going to expand after the corruption like we did in this one, you absolutely need to make it easy for everyone to travel to wherever it is they're trying to go. And it can be difficult at times to figure out where the road needs to be, but the good news is if you have an army or golems marching around and they wear a path down over time, they'll start to make their own road, and you can see naturally where everyone wants the road to be. And then you'll want maintainers just so you don't have to keep doing the road over and over again. That being said, having builders available for your projects is the most important thing. So you don't ever want to sacrifice jobs away from having a large number of builders. We're going to motivate this land to harvest as much as we can here in the last days of autumn and the first days of winter. Because when winter comes, depending on how cold it gets right away, or if it stays temperate for a little bit, we might be able to continue with food for a bit. So we have a reinforced food storage. Another part about getting lots of food for everyone is making sure that you have food storage in different areas. Don't rely on the ancillary to be your food storage. Let that be food. Let that be storage for other things, like medical first aid kits and weapons and such. So we've got 2 established wood golem combobulators. We're just making sure we're ready because we're halfway through our final day of autumn. Another thing you're going to want is at least 2 ice stone golem combobulators. So we're going to upgrade this one. And ice, because with winter, the corruption will begin to put down fire elementals, and you need some sort of ice magic to combat that. Now the ice magic, you can put them on your bolt towers, so if you wanted, you can upgrade these to be ice elemental bolt towers, and then they'll be less effective against specters, but much better against fire elementals. Same with ballista towers. You can eventually upgrade your ballista towers to where they also get an elemental effect. Thing to keep in mind with these elemental effects is they will tax your magical network harder. In fact, that's likely another thing we need to do. Let's actually install another essence collector over here. That way we have plenty of magic. Respawning golems costs magic, not a lot, but it all adds up. And also, since they're batteries, they have a high capacity for moments when all your turrets are firing, and you just can't produce enough magic to make it work. Now we're doing lightning elemental on the crystal golems because that's generally what the slimes are weak against. I think we can safely speed up now. You can see here specters are vulnerable against magic the most, which is why I leave these established elemental bolt towers non-elemental, because then their damage is straight magic, which is good against the specters. The slimes tend to take more damage from lightning, hence the crystal golems, because they naturally excel at defeating slimes at range, with as slow as slimes are. And then the ice stone golems for coming after the fire elementals. Now, I generally don't specialize my wood golems to be elemental. You can go lightning, ice, or poison. Most things that come from the corruption are fine with poison. They have these named demons here. They have like vulnerability to fire and magic fire. And let's see, Spectre has a little bit of damage to fire and magic fire, but you can see there's no real poison anywhere. In fact, some enemies, if they do mention poison on their sheet, it's that they're strong against it, they're resistant to it. So I don't know why you would put the poison element on your wood elementals. Perhaps there's more to come over time. I've actually never successfully completed a winter before, because there's just a lot that happens. I think we're in a good setup, though, to be able to handle this winter. It looks like we have successfully contained the corruption. We'll keep an eye on this. This hasn't spread any further yet. We're going to watch it closely. And this ballista tower looks like it has successfully pushed in the corruption, and it is applying pressure to this large graveyard that they started. We're going to see what happens, though, because our ballista towers, as long as they have ammunition, they can keep the builders from building during the day. But at some point, right, they're going to lure in the golems for a confrontation, at which point we're going to start to see some serious... Yep, okay, so they're starting to rally. That was a small graveyard, 1,100, and it summoned a few specters and a few demons just because it got attacked. And you can see now the ballista tower is being overwhelmed. They're targeting these other enemies, and they're getting some work done. So it's been upgraded. They are making progress. We're just putting pressure on them. You can never really turn your back on the corruption in this game, I've learned. Like, you can't count them out. You can't think to yourself, oh, we've fully defeated them. There's no problem. All it takes is, you know, a blood moon or a meteor shower at the wrong time. Maybe our magic network isn't strong enough for these bolts to handle all of the specters that are going to be coming at us. We'll see. We'll see. So far, everything seems to be doing good. We're out of building rooms, so I'm inclined to say let's upgrade the large keep. I'm not worried about having people idle, though, because idle hands are how you get children in this game. Organizers, we're going to go back up to 6. Stonecutters, tumblers, waymakers. No, we're going to increase the cooks and the water masters. No, the bottlers. And then we're going to grab 2 more builders and make them maintainers. And the big reason for that is we need to increase our storage. So before winter, the best advice I can give, here we'll tell the bower to maintain. We got all these extra weapons from opening the chests. Everything feels peaceful. Interesting. So they're going to give us a full moon. Most likely because they're going to be trying to work on their construction. This usually happens. I've gotten it quite a few times where I've gotten a full moon on the last night of autumn. It's really bad for them. Oh, they're not having a problem making progress on this graveyard, though. These are still being upgraded. We'll see. So at this point, all we're doing by harassing them is slowing them down. They are still gaining levels on their buildings. It doesn't take much work for them to upgrade it. Everything is peaceful. We're still going to be fighting them, though. They're still going to be testing our defenses. Look at that. Look at that. Corruption. This is going to be a heavily contested area for corruption because it had such a strong presence here. If we build another tower, so that can't reach it. Okay, that one can reach part of it. That's not that good, though. So you almost want the elemental bolt tower to be able to reach the far side of it, because if there are things here attacking the tower, they'll do damage to it. We'll see. I think we're going to leave that as is for now, though. Yep, the full moon has arrived. Instead, what I would like to see are better roads. I think at this point, our whole process can be better served by making sure that everyone can travel wherever they need to go quickly and easily. So we're going to path right into the keep. We're going to diagonal down like this. Died during childbirth. Such a shame. At this point, this really isn't necessary. We don't really need the farm. The housing, yeah, I feel like there should be housing back here, but probably... Does anybody even live in this house? Yeah, yes, people live in it. They like living next to the keep. They thought this was going to be the center of where everything happens. Sorry, but not so much. Sort of the way it goes. But they're next to the food storage, so they're happy. I think we can safely harvest these rocks over here. And we're going to need to motivate this forest to come back a little bit. Triple cast ought to do fairly well. Oh yeah. Those lumberjacks are like, we never make any progress on the forest. I don't know what to tell you. This, on the other hand, we're going to have to put an earthquake in here and hope to get some stone back before long. Or we're going to have to move our mining facility. Part of what I'd like to do with these extra buildings, though, is to get some storage. Thinking like rock storage over here. Well, just like right here, rock storage. Like, why not? All right, let's remove some of this terrain here. And then wood storage should be like right over here. We'll just put both of the main building block storages right in this area. This will work. So we want to make sure they have roads to get to these buildings. Roads are actually invaluable. If you have the spare resources, you should totally do roads, and don't be afraid to cut them right next to buildings or whatever you think is going to make the most logical sense for everybody to travel on. It's a marked difference between, yeah, even a second-rate road. This is a second-rate road. Even diagonal, you can see. It's a pretty big difference. Not to be underestimated. And then rock storage will be here. Looks like we might have to work that road kind of around that. It won't go through the fences. But I do want the road to go into the actual storage so people getting the materials can get them very quickly and stay on the road. That being said, we can look at one less organizer, and maintainers seem busy. We're going to leave the extra cook and the extra bottler for now. We'll take... I will just do the extra builder. No. 2 less builders, 2 more waymakers. That's what we're going to do. We need these roads worked on. Oh, you can see they're out here trying. Making their little dirt paths. At this point, actually, let's slow it down before the full moon leaves us, and let's look to see if there's a ghost that we can resurrect. Bum, bum, bum. Although we haven't really lost that many people. Luckily, we haven't had really any event that's taken that beyond our control, and the monsters never really broke through our defensive network. But during a full moon, it almost seems like more spirits of your lost villagers return than normal. There we go. 2 lightning, 2 lightning, and 2 ice. That's very good. Now let's do... Oh, is it even worth doing a fire? I think we'll just leave them like that for now. I think instead we're going to upgrade these ballista towers here to be a little more accurate and have better range. Not quite an established, but better than a makeshift. This is the bulk of where everybody's going to push through. Alright. Let's continue upgrading our roads. There we go, just like that. Winter has started. Okay, well, they gave us an easy day, and oop, this one's up to 1825, this one's up to 1945. They're trying to work on repairing this one. They've still got people going over here to get materials. They know what they're doing. That's why we need to upgrade these towers. Make sure our ammunition doesn't drop. But we need to, at the same time, make as many rations and bottles of water as we can. So if they'll allow us to make 100, we should try to make 100. Rations and bottled water are very helpful for conserving resources, because I don't think they use as much. But the big reason to do it is it makes your people more efficient, especially when traveling over long distances. Which you can mitigate by building homes kind of where everything is happening. If you think of homes as more necessary for work and less about having an area where everybody lives, you realize you need to kind of have homes everywhere people work. Because anytime they have to go back to get something to eat, to drink, to rest from the heat or the cold, that's where they're going to go. Speaking of, we're going to start upgrading some of these standard houses to large houses, or large standard housing. 1945. We've kept a lot of pressure on them, although they have built quite a few graveyards. I'm going to be very curious to see the amount of enemies that they push out. Hopefully we can continue to keep the damage on them. Let's put down some labor golems. Just make sure the waymakers have plenty to do at all times, so that we have these great roads. Especially these patrol roads. These need to be in really good standing. Ah, nomads and a child has grown up. That's good. Now, population is a really great thing. You shouldn't be afraid of getting more people, even though it means you have more mouths to feed and such. But at that same time, you do need to be leery that it is going to be more mouths to feed. That shouldn't shy you away from it, but you should, understand that that requires some care and attention. Looks like they're trickling in slowly. I wonder if they got caught in one of these little nooks and crannies in here. Doesn't look like it. So we should get a second one. Right, there we go. I think you can be a waymaker. There is another one. Where are you coming from? How peculiar. There we go. 8 waymakers, because I really want to focus on the roads. Alright. It's only chilly. Okay, so it hasn't gotten so cold yet. Water hasn't frozen. We're still purifying. Let's get another water master on the job. Ooh, electrical storm. Look out. Okay, so it's down here, which doesn't really affect us too much. If it was going to be maybe up here where the houses were, you have to worry about healing people. But I mean, if they kill the golems, it doesn't matter. They'll be back. Alright, we've got some makeshift essence collectors that need to be upgraded. And now that we have rock storage and wood storage, we want to upgrade them to hold more. And we can just cut these trees down. In fact, all of these trees here can be selected for cutting down. And all of those have been cut down. Let's stop that. Yep, no more of that. No more of this. Not right now. There we go, large standard housing. We still have plenty of room for more people. And the farm is producing food. Good. Let's go ahead and we'll hire one laborer. Let's see if we can hire two. And then at that same time, we're going to try to buy 3 keys. And keep our eye out for more locked boxes. We don't have any armor for our people. Because we haven't got a box full of armor yet. Ah, here's a box. But you can very easily get one. We've gotten quite a few of weapons, which is great, so everybody has a weapon to protect themselves if they need to. But without armor, they won't be able to stand a fight very long at all, but especially one-on-one. Oh, we're getting close. No, don't go back down. Hey, we hired a cat jeet laborer. Excellent. Oh, the dog... Oh, Shiloh was trying to unlock it for us. Oh, it didn't work. It, like, used up the key without the benefit. Sorry about that. Sorry, Shiloh. And it's just a bunch of ammunition. It's not the end of the world. Something to pay attention to with ammunition is that the amount that each tower can hold, like this one has 4 in reserve, and each bundle gives 20, right? You can see there, so that's why it has 80. That's counted as your stockpile. So if it takes 4, let's say, to fill up each bow tower, let's say 4 just to fill up these 3. So that's 12. But if you set your, hey, I want to keep 10 in reserve at all times, they won't be fully loaded. Oh, meteor shower. Yep, they're piling on the natural disasters. Where's it happening? Oh, it's happening on their spot. No, it's not. Oh, it's happening up here. Oh, no! Heal you! I heal you! I heal you and you! I heal everyone in this area! Don't succumb to the flames! Probably overkill. Yeah, okay. And that being said, now everybody's repairing. Okay, not so bad. Roads look like they're starting to be worked on. Oh, they are. Yes, they're being improved slowly but surely. So this one, I guess, will go here. Same with this. This can be upgraded. Right through the flower patch. No, not my flowers. Too bad. I feel pretty good. I think that we're going to handle this first night of winter just well. But I've had that feeling before, and it's been snatched from me. I felt pretty strong going into winter quite a few times, and just been faced with utter defeat because of something goofy. You know, if a ballista tower stops being loaded, or the biggest problem I've run into is magic, the battery network not being strong enough to sustain these towers during the Spectre Rush. So we're going to upgrade these a little bit more. Hey, somebody else grew up. Another builder? No, less builders, more waymakers. That's right. Stone cutters seem to be really bored. Okay, no, we'll leave you with the stone cutter. That's fine. Instead, we're going to go maintainers. You guys can't harvest the last of that. Stand by. You can't do that. These wood golem combobulators require wood to be nearby. 1825, so they didn't get it upgraded all the way. That's a slightly bigger graveyard. They're all rather small. It's the same as those. 2065. They are working on it. We'll see. We'll see. I'm hopeful. So if this is the case though, and this is going to be the final like boundary, then we can start talking about maybe walls. We don't really need them just yet. It might help. The biggest danger is going to be specters though, and they don't pay attention to walls anyways. They actually just fly in a straight line wherever they want to go. I probably should upgrade more golems. More people all grown up. Okay. Sure. The monsters seem restless. Indeed they do. Indeed they do. Let's go an extra miner. We're using a lot of stone. Actually, let's go with an extra stone cutter as well. We're going to be using actually a lot of it. And then I think we can afford to keep more crylithium on hand than 20. We're going to push it to 40. Because again, it's counting whatever is stacked on top of these as part of that reserve. They all seem to have some. Alright, we're halfway through dusk. I think we should mix it up a little bit. We should make one lightning stone golem and one ice crystal golem. I don't think we yet need any fire damage to speak of. I mean, that's good against the demons, but here you can see the slime's mostly vulnerable to magic electric. Fire is the lower of their vulnerabilities. The zombies, though. Zombies take more damage from fire, but they get shredded fairly quickly. We can view our maximum magic up here pretty much at any time. Yep, here we go. Let's make this an established well, and I'd like to make this an established well. Yep, water's frozen now. Okay, so let's see what they're able to produce. It's going to be a lot of stuff happening. If we have to, we can slow down to single speed. So far, it's not so bad. We still have quite a bit of magic. I think we're going to be fine. These specters, though, those are the ones I worry about. The other thing is we're really going to be limited on the damage that we're actually getting to do to buildings at this time because our ballista towers are going to be so busy with all these other targets. If we really need a boost in magic damage, we can put down some holy golems. They do very strong damage to everyone. In fact, let's do that. Let's put down... They're actually pretty strong, they just don't last very long. But we're going to put down 4 of them. Skeletons, they're kind of strong against most of the damage out here. Okay, we're about 1,000 down on our magic supply. It's not so bad. Towers are keeping up. Ammunition is dropping, though. Hold on. Now, we have plenty of ammunition right now, but my main concern is always, are we going to run out? Let's go 1 extra Fletcher. See if that makes a difference. Yep, as the push is coming. Okay, so the golems actually pushed inward a little bit. That's okay. They're going to get defeated fairly quickly, though. They'll get ganged up on. Doesn't like we're really dealing with any tower damage yet, though. So far, we're holding them pretty well. Now, the problem is golems will take a long time to respawn as they die. Oh, they're not really dying, though. Wow. They're kind of all still in play. This might do it. This might hold the night. I think it's gonna. It looks pretty good. just going to keep collecting all this magic. We're going to have to make an earthquake to get some stone back in that one area. I don't know how that's going to work. It's kind of close to some of the buildings. We're going to give it a shot, though. Oh, yeah, we can look to see if there's any ghosts running around the town, since it looks like the combat's going to be handled just fine. Yeah, too cold to grow food. No more farmers. No more farmers. You can become builders. The cook's got our rations up to 100. The bottlers are working on the bottle. I do think we're going to need another well. Probably right here is what we'll do. Okay, we are losing magic, so we're not generating magic fast enough to keep up with the demand. But luckily the demand is enough to stop the enemies, although that was a lot of skeletons. We handled that fairly well. They're still upgrading them though. We'll see, won't we? We could press the attack, which might cause them to spawn more. No, let's do it. Let's summon some holy golems right here and just push the attack on them. Oh, they're gonna wander back. Okay. We must have monsters behind the line. Oh yeah, we do. Look at them all fighting on the corruption. That's right. Home field advantage. Not for an ice stone golem. Just crushing people. That's pretty good. First night we made it. Our water is going down at an alarming rate though. I'm kind of terrified of that. We're going to be upgrading wells very quickly. So it looks like an established well is as good as it gets. Let's see, because if we do a fountain... Right, a fountain just takes the water we already have and puts it in a public area. No, I'd rather have another well. So we're going to do that. Try and get these roads upgraded. There you go, winter day 16. We made it. Piece of cake. Little bit of damage on the tower, not so bad. That's the good news. We made it through the first day of winter. The bad news is I've done that before, and I can tell you the days get progressively more difficult. But as long as we can keep the pressure on them while they're trying to build and repair, we should do fairly well. Such a real shame. That being said, that's where we're going to wrap up the episode. So this has been Rise to Ruins. Winter is coming, episode 1. Winter is actually, in fact, already here now. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've had a good time watching, because as always, I've had a good time playing. If you wanted to see the preamble to how we got to this setup, I will link to the stream. If you missed the stream and you were like, hey, I've subscribed, why didn't I get a notification? YouTube recently announced you have to ring the bell to actually make sure you get notifications to people you subscribe. So if you don't want to miss the next surprise stream that we do, please make sure you ring that bell. It's better for both of us that way. But until next time, take care.